Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to be looking at the financials behind moving into my new house. Sorry, had a little bit of a dribble there. Got a bit too excited. But if you're interested in kind of how much it costs as a self-employed person to rent a property and the process and stuff like that, how much I'm paying in tax, then make sure you stick around for this video. Subscribe if you're not already, turn your notifications. Let's get into the video straight away. Okay, so as you can see, guys, I'm in the new studio. I'm so happy to be here. This is so much nicer than my last place. You guys will know that my last place was a bit dark and dingy. It was a room between my lounge and my kitchen, and it just wasn't ideal. Today I'm standing in my new studio. The chair needs to be improved. The chair is uncomfy. But it needs to be improved massively. All of this sort of stuff is from IKEA. It's about £300. It's not a set. What I did was buy the worktop separately and the drawers, and you just put them together and it's really easy. But I think quite an affordable solution for a really nice desk. And then behind me, I've just got some lights that I bought from Amazon. These are £52, I believe, and I've got my tripod, which I've normally had. So this is kind of, my guitar's down there. If you don't know, I'm a guitarist as well. Let me know if you want to hear any music. But yeah, so it was a bit of an ordeal. I might go downstairs. Forgive for the mess as well. We're going to walk through some mess, but you know, I'm just moving in, so it's not completely done yet. But yeah, it's a 3-bedroom house, and yeah, it's wicked. It's a big step up from what I was at before, but there were some problems with it. There were some problems. What have we got here? Let me just turn this around. So here we are in the kind of kitchen area, again, a little bit messy. And then we've got the kind of outside area. These are bifolding doors, which is quite nice. So yeah, it was quite tricky because when you're self-employed, when you're a newly self-employed person, because I've only been self-employed since like July last year, because I quit my job at the end of June. And so I don't really have a huge amount of history with self-employment. So the estate agency said, well, okay, you're self-employed now. Can you show us your end of year accounts for your last unaudited accounts? Which for me, because I've had my company for quite a while, for me, it was January 2017, okay? Now, January 2017, I was working full time. And I was earning pretty much no money from my company. In fact, those accounts showed a loss because I had a loan. So, you know, they took that and they said, well, you can't afford this place because your accounts from January 2017 show that you're making like no money. And I said to them, well, I am making money. Here's my bank accounts and stuff like that. And they're like, no, we can't take that because we don't know what's going to be coming out for expenses and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, like, it's so annoying. If I had a job, it'd be nice and easy. Anyway, so I got to the end of it and they said, oh, you need a guarantor. So that's someone that guarantees that if I can't pay, they're going to pay. There's no way I'm asking anyone to do that. That was off the table. So what I ended up having to do was I paid half of the rent for the year, for 12 months. I paid it up front so that I don't need a guarantor. Like, I don't need someone to look out for me, if that makes sense. I've paid my money, and then there's half of the rent yet to be paid on a monthly basis, which actually means that it's pretty much the same amount as I was paying at my old place, but this is like way, way, way nicer. So it's quite nice in that sense that my cash flow per month is quite low, but obviously I had that really painful moment where I had to pay them, thousands and thousands of pounds for just what I've seen as a pretty ridiculous reason. But I guess that's just how it works. They want to, look after the landlord. They want to make sure that they get their money. So I appreciate that, but still crazy when you think about it. So what I want to do is just talk you through some of the accounts and the tax side of things, because before I did this, I spoke with my accountant to say, how much is this going to cost me? So what I said is that every single month, all right, every single month, I want £1,000 spending money. So that's going to be for doing things. It's going to be for buying stuff. It's also going to be for my bills. But I want £1,000, net per month that I can go and spend in my pocket, in my bank account, that I can do whatever I want with. I also want to spend about £500 per month on a car, and I want to spend, £2,000, just under £2,000 on a property per month. And then, was there anything else? Those were the only things. So those were the things, and that added up to a fair amount of money, to be fair. So yeah, £3,500, nearly £4,000 per month net. So I said, how much is my ideal life? And this is my ideal life at the moment. How much is this gonna cost me? This is obviously before I did it. And they came back and they said, per year, my tax liability for the company, if I wanted to pay myself that amount of money, would be about £7,500 in corporation tax. I was like, sweet. And my personal tax would be just over £2,000. And at that point I was like, sorry, what? £2,000, is that it? And they're like, yeah, because when you're a business owner, when you're a director of a company, there are so many ways you can draw down money from your company to be most tax efficient. So for example, because this room, and I'm actually using another room next door for storage and stuff like that, because I'm using this as a workplace, and because it's a fair substantial part of my house, I can actually charge my company rent. So what's happening is that I'm paying for the property, right? I'm paying the rent on the property, and then I'm renting this, this part of, and I think it's this room, the next room, and a toilet, because you need a toilet in an office. I'm renting those to my company for about £700 a month. Now, that means that I get a tax break, so I don't have to pay tax on that money. And then I have about a quarter of all my bills, everything like that. So the council tax, the electricity, the heating, all that sort of stuff. A quarter of that is, again, as part of a tax write-off, which is wicked. So at the end of it, if I want to pay myself £1,000 cash, like I said earlier, it's going to cost me just £81 in personal tax. And I was like, oh, wicked. And it turns out over the space of a year, I'd only be paying just over £2,000 of personal tax allowance or personal tax. And then the company, to pay myself a dividend. So if you guys don't know what that is, if you have a company or you have shares in a company, you'll get something called a dividend. It's like a reward for your shares. And I'd be paying myself mostly in dividends, which have a lower percent of tax than income tax. But to do that, you have to have paid corporation tax on that money, which is 19%. So my corporation tax, which is why it's £7,500, is a bit higher. That's why that is higher, because you have to pay that to be able to take down your money into your account. So all in all, it turns out to be about £9,500, £10,000 tax for the whole year to be able to live in a place which I'm really happy to live. I really love it. To run my company, to have a life where I can have a nice car, I can have spending money, and I don't have to spend all that money. It's there and I can save it if I need to. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead with it. And a few weeks later, I got the house, got the car, and hopefully can continue to make that sort of money. And I'm really confident I can, because that adds up to about, in my company, I have to make, I think it's like just over £50,000 to £60,000 revenue to be able to actually afford this life. And I'm very confident that I can continue that for a long, long time. At the moment it's doing that every couple of months, so I definitely think that I can continue doing that. But it was a bit of a pain point for me. It was quite stressful because I've never been through this before. They thought I was trying to scam them, because I was like, oh, my accounts don't show this money, but I was saying that I earn money and stuff like that. It was resolved in the end, but it's something that I didn't know beforehand. So hopefully you guys will understand that first of all, if you're getting a house or anything like that, even if you're buying a house, if you're renting a house, you need to be able to either prove your earnings through audited or unaudited accounts, or you need to pay up front, basically. And that's kind of how it works, unfortunately. The other thing is that tax is a lot less than you think when you have a company, when you have a good accountant. This is why you need to get an accountant. And when they say it's like, oh, it's £700 a year or whatever, just pay it, pay the money, pay them, because they will save you at least that within tax. They just will save you so much money. So if you've got any questions or you want me to do any follow-up videos on anything I've spoken about, because I know it's been a bit of more of an overview, then just leave a question down below. Smash the like button if you like this sort of video where I just explain a little bit more about the kind of costs of things. And again, I can do more of these videos in the future if you like them. But for today, that's going to be it. If you have any video requests, let me know down below. And of course, make sure if you haven't seen my previous video about the little meetup, make sure you go and watch that. And I'll link that down below as well. Thank you as always. I hope you have a wicked day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.